We're all human, and we understand human-type errors like accidental disclosures will occur. Although accidental disclosures are not intentional, they may rise to the level of a HIPAA breach. Under the privacy rule, a breach is defined as an impermissible use or disclosure that compromises the security or privacy of the protected health information. An impermissible use or disclosure of PHI is presumed to be a breach unless there is a low probability that the protected health information has been compromised based on an internal risk assessment. Therefore, when an accidental disclosure occurs, you must immediately report it to the privacy officer via a poka-yoke, without exception. Even though your intentions may be to simply fix the problem or make it right, never attempt to quietly correct or reverse what was done. Your responsibility is to report it via a poka-yoke. The poka-yoke will trigger an investigation and internal risk assessment identifying those disclosures that may rise to the level of a breach with the appropriate follow-up. While the disclosure may be accidental, failure to report and account for the disclosure may be considered a deliberate and intentional attempt to cover up the incident and is a violation of the law. Let's take a moment and look at some examples of accidental disclosures that may or may not rise to the level of a HIPAA breach. Sending an SMN or other order to the wrong physician's office, or sending PHI to the wrong clinic for the purpose of continued care, or another, shipping or delivering a supply order to the wrong address or wrong patient. And the final example, not covering delivery tickets at the front desk so visitor guests can view them while they're checking in. In all of these examples, a poka-yoke would be entered documenting the disclosure. Now that we've defined privacy and security rules, covered entities, PHI, appropriate uses and disclosures of PHI, and patient rights and accidental disclosures, let's spend some time discussing how this applies to your day-to-day job responsibilities. Here are some examples of HIPAA violations, otherwise known as bad intentional disclosures. Just to be perfectly clear, these are things you should not do. So starting with the first bullet, do not disclose, or in other words, share, a patient's PHI with your friends, family, spouse, etc. This is a direct violation of that patient's privacy rights. They do not have a right to know about that patient's information. Similarly, do not talk about or share a patient's PHI with staff who do not have authority or permission to have knowledge of the patient's information. Remember, there are some jobs at PHS that don't have a need to access PHI, and that is okay. The third bullet, do not discuss a patient's PHI in a public or non-confidential area where others can overhear the conversation. Some examples of these would be the lunchroom, the front reception area, lunch out with your colleagues in a public restaurant, or in the home of another patient. Keep in mind, this includes both in-person conversations as well as conversations where others have the opportunity to overhear you. Continuing with the examples of what not to do. Do not email patient's PHI with others who do not have authority or permission to have knowledge of the patient's PHI. Remember, you can only email PHI using your secure PHS-administered Gmail account. Your personal email account is not secure nor HIPAA compliant. Do not leave PHI where unauthorized individuals can view it, including your vehicle or in your home, for those of you who work from home. Do not access PHI without a legitimate clinical or business need. This includes accessing our referrals EHR systems when allowed. Never post PHI on social media. Marketing obtains explicit written authorization from promotional campaigns which feature our patients. Do not text PHI. This communication method is not secure and is never permitted. Do not overhead page PHI. Do not leave PHI in a voicemail. Remember, the intent of your voicemail is to let the recipient know you need a return call. Don't forget to include your department and name so your return call can be appropriately routed. And 4 more examples of what not to do. Never share or permit others to use your login and password. Remember, these uniquely identify you in our system. Do not position your monitor screen in the line of sight of unauthorized individuals. So for those of us who work from home or next to the window or public area here in the office, position your monitor so others can't view the information. Additionally, for those of you who access PHI on your smartphones, such as reading emails, be aware of your surroundings and who's within the line of sight of your phone. Never download or click on suspicious files. They may be malware or spyware. These malicious programs can compromise our entire network and even result in massive patient PHI breaches. If you are ever in doubt about an attachment file or email, contact the IT Help Desk at 555. Lastly, any other examples you can think of whereby PHI is intentionally disclosed for any other purpose in violation of HIPAA. In other words, don't do that. On this slide, we'll take the opposite approach. Here are some best practices you can follow to protect your patient's PHI. Use confidential shredding for all paperwork with PHI. These are located around the office. Never dispose paperwork containing PHI in the regular trash. Keep all paperwork with PHI covered and protected in public areas, especially in your vehicle or up at the front desk. Take only your patient's PHI into the home during your visit. Lock your computer terminal when away from your desk and computer. This also includes when working from home or in the patient's home. Limit the amount of PHI you print when working from home. Do not allow your friends or family to view PHI while working from home. All print jobs with PHI should be picked up immediately. If there are unclaimed PHI print jobs, they should be placed in the black bin face down. If you need a thumb drive to transmit PHI, it must be encrypted and approved by IT. Keep your PHS-issued laptops and cell phones secure at all times. Immediately report any lost or stolen PHS-issued cell phones or laptops. All visitors must sign in at the front reception desk and should wear a visitor badge. Visitors should be accompanied by PHS staff unless they're in PHS public areas, where they may be left unaccompanied. This includes the front reception area, conference rooms, bathrooms, lunchrooms, and classrooms. And finally, don't forget to wear your ID badge. Overall, follow the golden rule by treating your patient's health information as if it were your own or your family members. Our patients will thank you. You have a couple of resources when it comes to HIPAA privacy and security rules and requirements. If you have any questions specifically about HIPAA policies, the privacy rules, PHI, or disclosures, you can contact Josh Larson, our designated HIPAA Privacy Officer and Director of Operations Quality. If you have any questions about HIPAA security rules, encryption, electronic storage, or transmission of PHI, you can contact Rick Mueller, our designated HIPAA Security Officer and IT Manager. Thank you for your attention throughout this presentation and for helping us protect our patients' health information while you take care of the child.